All rise.
The Kosovo Specialist Chambers is now in session.
Be seated. Mr. Court Officer, please call the case.
Good morning, Your Honors. This is the file number case CBC 2020-06, the Specialist Prosecutor versus Hashim Thaçi, Kadir Veseli, Recep Selimi, and Jakub Krasniqi. Thank you, Your Honors.
Thank you. I note that all the accused are present in court today. Today we will start hearing the evidence of prosecution witness, W04735. Before we begin, we have two preliminary matters to deal with. One can be dealt with outside the presence of the witness. First, the panel notes that in F02470, the Victims' Counsel notified the panel of his intention to ask questions of W04735. In F02485, the defense has recorded its objection to the questioning of the witness by Victims' Counsel. The Victims' Counsel responded to the defense's objections in F02492. The panel will defer its ruling on the matter until after the SPO has concluded its direct examination of the witness. For the second matter, we will deal with this in the presence of the witness. So, Madam Court Officer, please bring us into private session to protect the identity of the witness and bring the witness in. Madam Usher.
Mr. President. Mr. President.
Oh.
I did wish to just clarify our position in light of the recitation you just gave. I believe our notice said that we may object, and we were just preserving our position that we might, so there is no formal objection from at least the Thaçi defense.
Thank you for the clarification. get back to public.
Your Honor, we are in public session. Thank you.
Well, Your Honour, I don't wish to make lengthy submissions. We've done it many times in the past. Simply paragraph 10, paragraph 25, paragraph 27, and paragraph 31 of Preparation Note 1 contain matters that are outside the scope of clarifications to Rule 154 statements constituting new evidence and are not appropriate for inclusion in the 154 document, as will presumably be submitted by the prosecution. Thank you.
Mr. President, I have a related point that we emailed the panel this morning. Our position is that paragraph 40 of Prep Note 2 should not be included, or evidence should not be led on it, because we have not had an opportunity to communicate with our client about those allegations in paragraph 40. We received an email in response from the SPO confirming that they do not intend to lead that evidence, which then is fine with us. I assume that Victims Counsel is also not going to lead that evidence, and if that's the case, then we're fine. But I wanted to put that on the record.
Victims Counsel, do you intend to lead? Thank you very much. That seems to settle that question. As to the other objections, they are overruled. We will proceed. Witness, we will ask you now to take a solemn declaration. The usher has provided you with a solemn declaration. Please stand. You may look at the declaration and then read it aloud.
Bettime solemn.
Solemn declaration. According to Rule 141, paragraph 2. Conscious of the significance of my testimony and my legal responsibility, I solemnly declare that I will tell the truth and the whole truth and nothing else but the truth, and I shall not withhold anything which has come to my knowledge.
Be seated now. Witness, now we will start your testimony, which is expected to last approximately 2 days. As you may know, the prosecution will ask you questions first, and then counsel for victims may ask you questions. And once they're finished, the defense has the right to ask questions of you. Members of the panel might also ask questions of you. The prosecution estimate for your examination is 1.5 hours. Victims' counsel may take approximately 15 minutes for questions. The defense estimates that it will need 7.5 hours. As regards each estimate, we hope that the counsel will be judicious in the use of their time. The panel may allow redirect examination if conditions for it are met. Witness, please try to answer the questions clearly with short sentences. If you don't understand a question, feel free to ask counsel to repeat the question or tell them that you don't understand and they will clarify. Also, please try to indicate the basis of your knowledge of facts and circumstances that you will be asked about. In the event you are asked by the SPO to attest to some corrections made regarding your statements, you are reminded to confirm on the record that the written statement, as corrected by the list of corrections, accurately reflects your declaration. Please also speak into the microphone and wait 5 seconds before answering a question, and then speak at a slow pace for the interpreters to catch up. During the next days while you are giving evidence in this court, you are not allowed to discuss with anyone the content of your testimony outside of the courtroom. If any person asks you questions outside this court about your testimony, please let us know. Please stop talking if I ask you to do so, and also stop talking if you see me raise my hand. These indications mean that I need to give you an instruction. If you feel the need to take breaks, please make an indication and we will try to accommodate your need. We begin now with the questions from the prosecution. They're seated to your left. Please give them your attention. Madam Prosecutor, you may begin.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, witness.
Good morning.
And today I will be asking you questions on behalf of the SPO. As explained during our last meeting, rather than asking you questions about every relevant issue you may have information about, it may be possible to admit some of your prior statements into evidence. There are a number of procedural steps that we need to follow in order to do so. Before turning to this, I'd like to establish your identity. First, what is your name?
Imer Imeri.
Imer Imeri. 18th of February 1950.
What is your place of birth?
Vainik.
Vainik.
And what is your country of nationality?
Shteti Kosova.
I'm a Kosovar Albanian.
Thank you. Sir, you have given statement in the past, including before Kosovo courts, and you were allowed to review these statements in preparation of your testimony. Today we will seek to tender them into evidence. Could the court officer please bring up ERN SITF 000 13369 to 13477, Red 3. Page 1 in English and 71 in Albanian. Witness, do you recall giving a statement in the Sabighetsi et al. Investigation in 2010?
Po.
Yes, I do.
Now go to PDF page 35 in English. Is that your signature?
Po.
Yes.
Could we now please bring up ERN SITF 000 16611 to 16704, Red 3. Witness, do you remember testifying for 2 days in May 2011 in the trial against Sabighetsi, Riza Alia, Salih Regepi, and Shaban Hoti in Pristina?
Po.
Yes.
Thank you. Could we now bring up SPOE 000 14585 to 14639, Red 3. Sir, do you remember testifying in the trial against Jemshid Krasniqi in 2016?
Po.
Yes.
And do you remember reading these statements last week in your language?
Po.
I do.
You had an opportunity to make corrections and clarifications to your statements.
Po.
Yes.
That these corrections were written down in a note and read back to you.
Po.
Yes.
Confirm that what was read back to you in that note reflects your changes fully and accurately.
Po.
Yes.
Now, if we include all of the corrections and clarifications that you made last week, is the information in your statements accurate and truthful to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Chin percent.
100%. Whatever I've said is 100% true.
If you were asked the same questions today about the same events, would your answers be the same?
Sigurisht njëjtë.
Of course, they would be the same.
Thank you. Your Honor, having fulfilled the Rule 154 criteria and in accordance with decision F02489, paragraph 49 C and D, we would like to tender the SPRK statement, which is SITF 000-133-69 to 13403 Red 3, and the Albanian translation, which is SITF 000-13439 to 13477 Red 3. The minutes of the 4th of May 2011 trial, which is SITF 000-16611 to 16704 Red 3. The minutes of the 5th of May, that is SITF 000-16493 to 16533 Red 3. And the Albanian, which is SITF 000-16534 to 16575 Red 3. The minutes of the trial in 2016, which is SPOE 000-14585 to 14639 Red 3. And preparation note 1, which is 122484 to 122489. And finally, one associated exhibit, which is SITF 00431126 to SITF 00431140 from ERN range SITF 00431126 to 431161 Red.
Subject to the objections contained in our response to the Rule 154 application, we have no additional objections.
Thank you. Anybody else? No other objections? SITF 000-13369 to 13403, RED 3 is admitted.
Your Honor, if my understanding is correct, only pages SITF 000-13369 to SITF 000-13403 for the English version and the corresponding Albanian has been tendered. In
That's
this
correct.
case, there will be assigned exhibit number P01584 and classified as confidential. Thank you, Your Honors.
SITF 000-16611 to 16704, English and Albanian, RED 3 is admitted.
And will be assigned exhibit number P01585, classified as confidential. Thank you.
SPOE 000-14585 to 14639, RED 3, English and Albanian is admitted.
and will be assigned exhibit number P01586, classified as confidential.
And the prep note 122484 to 122489 is admitted.
Your Honors, I think that we may have, there is another statement, if I'm not mistaken, SPOE 0001458 to 0001469 RED3.
Oh, that's one we already did. That's 1586.
Your Honors, P01586, the ERN is SITF 0001649 to 0001653 RED and the corresponding Albanian. And the next statement is SPOE 0001485 to 0001469 RED3. And if we're going to assign the number, it's going to be P01587.
All right, that's not the same as. That was not what you read off originally?
I apologize if I made a mistake. I mean to tender also the minutes of the 2016 trial. That was SPOE 0001485 to 14639.
Yes, it is admitted, but what's the number for it?
It is, Your Honor, P01587. Thank you.
All right. And the prep note, is that correct? 122484 to 122489?
And the prep note 122484 to 122489 will be assigned exhibit number P01588. Thank you.
Then the associated exhibit as read will also be admitted.
Thank you, Your Honors. In this case, SITF 00431126 to 00431161 RED. Particular pages SITF 00431126 to SITF 00431140 will be assigned exhibit number P019. Thank you, Your Honors.
One 1589, all right, thank you.
That's correct. My apologies. I'll say it again. It's P01589. Thank you, Your Honors.
Thank you. Go ahead, Madam Prosecutor.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to now read a short summary of the witness evidence into the record.
You may do so.
WO4735 is a Kosovo Albanian who was abducted in Albania by masked KLA soldiers for being a supporter of Ibrahim Rugova and the LDK, and detained in KLA military barracks in Albania, where he was beaten by KLA members. He was detained with others in poor sanitary conditions and witnessed the mistreatment of his co-detainees. Around mid-June 1999, WO4735 was transferred to Prizren, where he was detained for several days together with others, including men of Serb and Roma ethnicity, before being released by KLA members who warned him not to tell anyone that he had been detained. Mr. Imeri, I now have a few additional questions for you. First,
I'm listening.
could the court officer please bring up ERN 060-639 to 060-649 red? And if we could go to page 3 of the PDF, which ends in 641. Could this exhibit be removed from the screen? The one that I called is as the ending redacted, red.
Your Honor, it appears that RED version is not in the PQ.
Okay. Is it possible for the court officer to zoom in on the photo, excluding the text at the top of the picture? Thank you. Sir, do you recognize this place?
Po, and
Yes, I do. I was detained in this location from the 12th of April 99 to the 20th or 22nd of June 99.
Thank you. And what, can you tell us the location, the name of this place?
ky vend quhet Sahan.
This place is called Sahan in Krume.
These buildings were you detained?
Këtu përpara si duket,
It would appear there is a first door and then the entry door. Above the entry door is the window where I was detained in the aforementioned period.
1 second. I would like to ask the witness to mark the photo. And for now, I'm just asking you about the building. There, I can see 3 buildings. So if you can,
po,
Yes.
one at the top of the building where you were detained.
këtu,
Here.
Can you draw an arrow and put number 1 above that window you marked?
aty isha une në dhom,
I was kept in that room from the 12th of April to the 22nd of June. I'm marking it as number 1.
And what do you remember what was in the small building to the right of the 2-story building?
po,
Yes, this was the kitchen.
Could you please put a number 2 next to that building that you identified as the kitchen? Thank you. And do you know what was in the building to the left of the 2-story building?
godinën të majt,
The building on the left was a storehouse with military equipment and weaponry, clothes, and also it had a room with prisoners. And there were 4 former Yugoslav army officers who had come to Albania to join the KLA.
Could you please put a number 3 next to that building? Thank you. And in your statement, you said that the toilet was outside, and this is at P1584, page ending 13381. Are you able to indicate on this photo where the toilet was?
Oh,
Yes.
Can you put a number 4 next to the trees where you indicated the toilet was? Thank you. And could we now there are other pages I'd like to show, but I would like to tender this into evidence. Maybe I can tender them all at the end.
The witness has something he wants to say. Yes, witness. What is it?
oh. There were
Yes, Your Honors. I would want to address my people saying that I am not here against the KLA. I joined the KLA with 7 of my family members. The KLA came from the people of Kosovo, and the entire people of Kosovo were KLA. Unfortunately, some actions carried out by certain individuals have brought me here today.
As you wish, but let's wait and see what questions the prosecution asks first. They may cover some of that same material.
Thank you.
Well, if you wish to speak later, on, we will allow it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to tender this into evidence, but I'll have him mark other photos, so maybe the number can be assigned at the end as 1.
We will.
I will go to other pages and ask him to mark, but I would like to tender this as well.
All right, any objection?
No objection.
No objection. ERN 0603 or 639 to 060649 RED 2. And is it at page 3, Madam Prosecutor? Is that correct? Of that.
It's page 3.
All right.
It's ERN 060641.
060641 is the particular page which is admitted.
And we'll be assigned exhibit number P01590, currently classified as confidential.
This can actually be classified as public as long as it's just this image.
Reclassified as public. Madam Prosecutor, also, while we're on the subject of classification, what about the 4 statements that were previously admitted?
The statements should stay confidential for witness protection reasons.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you. And if we could move to page 5 of the PDF. And if we could do the same and just zoom in on the photo, excluding the text at the top. If we could scroll down so that we see the building. Yes, thank you. Perfect, thank you. Witness, is this the same building?
Oh,
Yes. It is the same building.
Could you please circle here the main entrance to the building and put number 1 next to it? Thank you. And could you please put number 2 next to the window of the room where you were detained? Thank you. And to the right of the main entrance, there's a door. Who was staying there?
aty qëndronin dhe vajzat që kishin
There were some young ladies who had come from Switzerland to take care of the wounds of the wounded who were staying there.
Thank you. How do you know that there were young ladies there?
po në hyrje ndalje pe
From the room where I was, one could see them coming in and going out.
Did you hear them talk?
po
Yes, I did.
e kom dëgjue një
I heard one of them who was very upset. She had just come back from the front line and was cursing at them. And her words were, did we come here to help our brothers or to be abused on the way or on our work?
Thank you. Did you observe whether they were free to move around?
po ato hishin e dalë
They would go in and out, no, around there, but no further than that.
Your Honor, I would like to tender this into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
This is page 5 of the same ERN number, is that correct?
Yes, and the specific ERN is 060643.
Zero 60643 is admitted.
And it will be added to the previously assigned exhibit number P01590, currently classified as public. Thank you, Your Honors.
Could we now please bring up ERN 065573 to 065702?
Your Honor, can I just clarify a matter? For the exhibit number, is it 1590 or 1950?
I'm sorry, 1590.
Microphone, please.
Sorry. If we could go to page 3 of the PDF, that is 065575. Yes. Thank you. Mr. Imeri, do you recognize these buildings?
Yes, I do. It's the same building.
And could we now go to page 8 of the PDF, that is 065580. If we can, could we zoom to the photo at the bottom of the page, the second photo? Yes, thank you. Sir, do you recognize this room?
Yes. When I was taken there on the first night, I was taken into this room.
Kedum Mukaperman, Adorusi President.
I was first told about President Ibrahim Rugova, and also told that we had all to give up on him. And then the beating started.
Room?
Sabiti Mikavon.
Sabit slapped me twice, and then he hit me with one of the crutches, and also with a short wooden stick. Commander Hoja, his real name Rizalia, hit me on the head, all over my body, and I was all covered in blood.
Sabit.
Sabit
Getzi.
And could we now move to page 9 of the PDF, and that is 065581. And if we can just stay on the upper photo, this photo, and without including the caption. Perfect, thank you. Witness, do you recognize this place?
Yes. These are the stairs leading to the room where I was cut.
Where you were kept, the one to the door, open door to the right, or the other door to the front?
The door to the front, straight ahead.
And if we could now go to page 10, which is ERN 065582, and focus on the upper part, the photo. Yes, thank you. Witness, do you recognize this room?
Yes. This is the same room with the long sofa, but the photograph was taken from a different angle, because Sabit at the time asked for the wood burning stove to be lit because it was cold.
Where you were beaten the first night, right?
Papa.
Yes, yes.
Your Honor, I would like to tender these pages into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
None.
All four of them? Or just this last one?
No, all four, Your Honor, and if I may, one page of this exhibit was already admitted as exhibit P85, and that is page 065597, so maybe this could be added to that exhibit, and as they can also be classified as public.
065580 is admitted.
Your Honors, 4 pages that have been tendered are 065575, 065580, 065581, and 065582. They all will be added to the exhibit number P85, classified as public. Thank you, Your Honors.
That's actually 5 different photos. They are all admitted and have been numbered. Go ahead.
Thank you. Could the court officer now please bring up SITF 00014-681 to 14684? And the English is at page 1, while the Albanian is at pages 2-4. And if in Albanian we could go on page 3 and zoom in on the. Thank you. If we can scroll down a little bit, perfect. That's enough. Thank you. Mr. Imeri, are you able to read the names that are in number 1, 2, and 4, or would you like me to read them for you?
I can't read them.
At number 1, there's the name Riza Alia, father's name Imer. And number 2, there's the name Salih Rejepi, father's name Miftar. And then number 4, there's the name Shaban Hoti, father's name Ahmed.
Hoti. Yes.
These 3 KLA soldiers in Sahan while you were detained there?
Yes, certainly. Because Rizalia, Commander Hoxha, was the main person who did the beating.
Thank you. Your Honor, I would like to tender this list of soldiers to evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
No objection being heard. SITF 00014-681 to 000-14684, both English and Albanian, are admitted, or is admitted.
And it will be assigned exhibit number P01591, currently classified as confidential.
This can actually be classified as public.
Reclassified as public.
Thank you, Your Honors.
Sir, I now have just a few more questions about Sahan, and could I please ask you not to mention names of those who were detained together with you when you answer your questions? In your statement, you have mentioned that at some point there were up to 17 detainees, and there were some detainees who belonged to FARC, and you have discussed the FARC member from Preševo in your statement, and this is in P01584, pages ending 382 and 383. In addition to the FARC members from Preševo, were there any other FARC members detained in Sahan?
I was there, and those who were detained with me. We were members of the LDK, so we were of that wing.
Focus on the people who were detained with you who were soldiers. And you have mentioned the ones from Preševo, but I would like to ask you, in addition to the FARC members from Preševo, were there any other FARC members?
And Rizaria said, whoever will make room for him will be beaten badly. I could not stand that situation, so I stood up and took him close to where I was sleeping. That young man was very distressed, he was wounded. On the next day, he even refused to eat. I told him, listen to me, young man, you need to eat because maybe we will leave this place someday. Then I asked for a meeting with Hakir Drenica. He wasn't there, but then Salih Berisha was there, to whom I asked, take the young man to the doctor. They took him to the doctor, tended to his wound, and somebody said, try to convince him talk to him nicely so he will not tell the true story, what happened to him. And they gave him some sort of leeway. He could hang around in a way freely there. So he would just walk around the building. Sometimes he would talk to me through the window. And when I went to the bathroom, after this time, I do not know where they took him to.
Second, you said that those who wounded him, those who controlled also the FARC, what group or organization or army did they belong to, those who wounded him?
I
am so sorry to say it now, but at the time, according to the words of this young man, they were KLA who had also taken over control of FARC there. They caught him, wounded him, and brought him there.
Your Honor, for the next questions, I would like to move into private session for witness protection reasons.
Into private session, please. Oh.
Your Honors, we are in public session. Thank you.
All right, we're adjourned for 10 minutes.
All rise. All rise.
Be seated. Madam Usher, please bring the witness in. Do you still wish to be in private session? Into private session, please, Mr. Court Officer.
Your Honors, we are in public session. Thank you.
Mr. Imeri, I'd like to ask you about the time you were transferred to Prizren. You mentioned in your statement, P1584, page ending 1339798, you mentioned that you were first taken to a female student dormitory and then to a garage, and that you were transferred to the garage by car.
Yes.
Po,
Could you please describe what road the KLA soldiers took to reach the garage?
aty ku ishim,
From the place where we were, in the place where we were detained for 2 or 3 days, the German soldiers came and they started to take out the weapons from the KLA. Someone from them came downstairs in the basement and told us, the two of us that were there, you are free now. And we thought that we were released because I could not even think of the possibility of myself being detained. We left that place and we were told, go to the kitchen and take whatever you want. To tell you the truth, I didn't feel like eating at all. And then we went outside under the shade of a tree.
Some of these details are already contained in your statement, which has been admitted in front of the judges. So I would like to ask you to just tell me where the garage was by describing which road was taken to go from the dormitory to the garage, if you can.
po,
Yes.
ju I keni ato thatë gjitha,
You said that you already have all the details. So what happened is that we got on the car. Jamshid was driving the car, whereas the other two persons were holding a revolver in their hands, and they were telling us not to move. We were sent towards Brezovica. When we arrived in the middle of the town, we took on the right-hand side. It was by the side of a mountain of wood, and it was there that they started to maltreat us. And they told us that there would be a celebration, there would be a wedding happening there, or that you would be sent to Klečka to be burned down there. I didn't say a word. We were sent on the edge of the woods near a house, and we were told to get off the car. Jamshid Krasnizhin never said a word. When he got off the car, he leaned towards the wall and he took a deep breath. He was really upset. And it was clear that that was done without his willingness, whereas the other two persons pushed us to the garage holding their revolvers in their hands.
Was driving the car, is that correct?
po, po,
Yes, yes.
And when they said that they were going to take you to a wedding, what did you understand that to mean?
po, na gjithmonë menën që aty
That they would kill us. That was what we were thinking all the time, because there was no other wedding.
You mentioned that you were taken to a house by the side of a mountain. Can you describe what the house looked like?
po,
Yes.
po, rruga që na qoj aty,
We went towards the end of the road by the side of the mountain where there was this house. The house was surrounded by a long wall. The entry, the gate to the house was at the end of this wall, whereas 3 to 4 meters away from that place was the garage, and that was the place where we were taken to.
And how were you treated in the garage?
po mjerisht, Po, ishin do djem tri aty.
There were some young people that were beating the other persons, but I don't know their names. I don't know these people.
The elderly Serbs and Roma who were being beaten?
Po,
Yes.
People who were beating them, what army or group or organization did they belong to?
ata huma ishin si
They claimed to be KLA, but they were young men that were directed by somebody else. It's not that they acted as part of the army, but I believe that they were directed by somebody else to behave like that.
Leave.
Po, unë besoj që
I believe that Sabit Gezi himself was directed by somebody else to call me a supporter of the LDK and to tell me that he would kill myself and everyone else. That is how Reza Alia behaved as well. They maltreated us because of being LDK supporters. As you know, many people were killed afterwards.
Were in the garage and who were beating the elderly people, what were they wearing?
po kishin tesha dve.
They were wearing camouflage uniforms, but they could be wearing anything.
You? Witness, I only have two last questions for you. I would like to ask you first, how did your arrest and detention impact you?
Si?
Can you please repeat the question once again?
What impact did your arrest and detention have on you?
Po, kjo pat pasoja vdekje.
The impact was severe. It was extreme. So with the beating that I had to suffer, I had the cut on my head, but also in the lip. I had blood bleeding all over my body for 1 month. I had consequent maltreatments inflicted on me, and this was only because of the accusation that was told to me by Sabit Gezi.
The fact that you have been speaking openly about what happened to you, how did that impact your life?
Po, mu më burgasen.
I was detained, I was beaten up, whereas I was part of a patriotic family. My brother was killed. The fear of leaving was removed off of me, and this is why I went public. Therefore, my testimony was welcomed by the Albanian people. I have never lied, and I will never lie in my life.
Okay. Thank you. No further question.
Cross-examination.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Emery. My name is Maria Radzejowska.
Good morning.
Maria Radzejowska, and I'm victim's counsel in this case.
Faleminderit.
Thank you.
So today and in your previous statements, you have described in detail your detention and the beatings that you were subjected to during that detention. And I would like to ask you some more questions about the impact that this detention and beatings have had on you and your life. All right?
All right, thank you.
You've mentioned a moment ago the physical harm that you suffered during the beatings. You've also mentioned it in more detail in your statements, and this is for the record, for example, in P1584 at SITF 0003377 and 8, and another example, P1585 at SITF 0001662 and 29, and another page 16634. In these statements, you've mentioned your injuries to your head, to your arm, to your legs. How long did it take to heal from these injuries?
And there were
Listen, I have not fully recovered to this day, but God gave me my life and preserved my life to this day for me to be here today. I'm still suffering.
Can you tell the judges in a bit more detail the suffering that you're still enduring, the pain that you're still enduring?
I have visible signs here and on my head. I have pain in my arm and my hand. I can't move my arm. I can't lift even 3 kilograms. And I was told by the doctor that eventually I won't be able to even move my arm. I have back pain as a result of this severe beatings. I was beaten 3 times when I lost consciousness. When I went to the bathroom and I explained that it was far, they would kick me. I was constant. I had my hands tied. I ate with my hands tied. I slept with my hands tied. I went to the bathroom with my hands tied. They hit me with a wooden stick. Imagine the suffering, but always hoping that God would give me the possibility to one day be in front of the justice system. And I thank the panel, and here I am today.
Do you still suffer from headaches?
I do, certainly. Sometimes I lose consciousness. I have severe issues, amnesia issues. I suffer from insomnia. I have poor sleep, wake up at night to relive things that I went through. So it is known what I went through.
Take any medication to help you relieve the pain?
Can you please repeat the question?
Any medication to help you with the pain?
I do take medication. I take 12 pills a day.
I want to ask you now about the effect that the beating, the detention in 1999 have had in terms of your psychological well-being. During the time of your detention, you have been multiple times in situations that you thought you would be killed or you might not survive the beating. You've mentioned this today, and this is, for example, also in P1584 at SITF 000133378, or in P1584 at SITF 000166632. How often, in your memory, how often when you were detained did you think you might not survive?
Po ndoshta jo për natë veç.
Perhaps not every night, but every other night, yes. Someone would knock on the door and say, "Get ready because you're about to be killed." Now you can imagine the feelings you go through. But after some time I got used to it because I had nowhere to go. I was there. When they would knock on the door and say, "Get ready because you're about to be killed," Sabigezi said, "I will kill all LDK people." And he proved that from that time and after the war. From that moment on, I was just expecting, as he said, it would happen.
And today, how do you feel with what happened, with this living in constant thought of death approaching, and with the pain and the beatings? How does this affect your life today, psychologically speaking?
Po nga ona psikologjik.
Psychologically, there's a lot, because when a man is facing death every hour, every day, it is a very hard thing to go through. But what motivated me to come out openly is the fact that I want everybody to see my suffering, which is something almost impossible. How can this happen to a family in Drenica, one of the most patriotic places in Kosovo and Albania, one of the most patriotic family? And the gentlemen who are here can testify to that. Everyone knows that. Why did this happen to me? Unfortunately, the evil in their eyes was the LDK and President Lugova. They were just trying to liquidate all of us. I am very sorry for that.
That the good name, your good name, and the good name of your family have been harmed because of your detention and mistreatment in 1999?
Po emni mirë.
My good name, certainly. I was friends with Yusuf Gurvala, a national hero from 17th of January 1981, when he was killed by the UDB, Serbian UDB. I was friends with Adem Yashari, and luckily Rifat Yashari is alive and he can testify to that. I was friends with Adem Yashari, not these others. Additionally, my family, my great-grandfather fought the Turks, my father, Shaban Paluja, my brother with 2 university degrees and the right-hand arm of the President Rugova.
Do you think that you will ever be able to forget about the pain and the suffering that you were subjected to when you were detained in 1999?
Ons stier me haar
It is difficult to forget. Perhaps, had my brother not been killed, I would have tried to forget. But they killed my brother, an educated person from a patriotic family who was ready to help build his country. They took his life, and without it being known who killed him. These four people who work in the institutions of Kosovo, they are always silent. How can they not know about all these killings in Kosovo? That motivated me to seek justice, and I'm very satisfied with you, Your Honors, and may God be pleased with you as I am.
Sir, listen carefully, please. Now I would like to ask you a couple of questions that require just a yes or no answer, all right? Do you understand?
po.
Yes?
Yes or no answer, please. Sir, did you ever meet with Hashim Thaçi? Yes or no?
Po.
Yes.
During this meeting, did you ask Hashim Thaçi why you were detained and mistreated?
Po.
Yes.
Give you any explanation why you were detained and mistreated?
Ai më ka thonë
He told me that he did not know.
Did he apologize for your detention and mistreatment?
pa i ka thonë më vjen
He said, I am sorry.
Do you remember when this meeting took place, approximately? And this is, of course, not a yes or no question.
po më kujtohet
Yes, I remember. This was at the end of 2016, beginning 2017.
And sir, other than that meeting, after the war, has anyone from the KLA approached you to investigate the case of your detention and mistreatment?
askush.
No one. With exception of Hashim Thaçi, who asked through the media to uncover these cases, meaning the killings of the LDK members. He called on the Prosecutor General at the time who made the statement.
Apologies, I'm asking about specifically your detention and your mistreatment in detention in 1999.
Se kuptova.
I did not understand. Could you please speak a bit louder?
Of course. I'm asking only about your detention and mistreatment in 1999, and the question is, has anyone from the KLA approached you to investigate this, what happened to you, your detention and mistreatment in 1999?
Askush.
No one.
Thank you, sir. I have no further questions.
Thank you, Ms. Radzielska. Now, cross-examination.
Yes, Mr. President, would you like me to start now? Sure, sure. Witness, good morning. My name is Luka Mišetić.
Good morning.
A few questions for you this morning.
Urnani.
Please.
Witness, my first question is, it's always been well known, and it was well known throughout 1998, that you and your family were supporters of Mr. Rugova and the LDK. Is that correct?
Po.
That's correct.
You and your brother both in 1998 joined the KLA, correct?
Po.
That's correct.
You are recognized as a veteran of the KLA today, correct?
Po.
Yes, that's correct.
Sons joined the KLA, correct?
Siguresh.
Yes, correct.
You stated in one of your statements, this is P1585, that there was even a KLA checkpoint near your house until December of 1998, correct?
Po.
Yes, correct.
Now, while you were in the KLA in 1998, no one in the KLA in 1998, while you and your family were members, made any threats against you,
Po.
correct?
Nuk na ka kërcënu.
They made no direct threats. However, we were sort of criticized because we were members of the LDK.
Po dikush aty rrethi u.
Somebody in the area, words were uttered by people. I can't give you names, but it is very true.
Unless you were allowed to join the KLA and participate in the KLA, correct?
Po I nderuar u.
Yes, sir. The KLA was the entire people. We were all KLA.
You then left Kosovo in December of 1998, correct?
Po.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Po.
Correct.
In Croatia, you returned to Albania to look for your family. Is that correct?
Jo 4 muaj.
Not 4 months. I went to Croatia at the end of December, and I returned when the NATO started bombing in Kosovo, so 2 or 2.5 months later.
Well, you said in your statement, one of your statements, this is P01584, that you went to Albania on the 8th of April. Is that correct?
Jo.
No. That's not correct. This is a manipulation.
I'm not trying to manipulate. I mean, just quote your witness statement, which is now in evidence. This is P01584 at page SITF 000-13371. And the statement records you as having said, yes, I went to Albania on the 8th of April. I started looking for my family in Durrës, then in Tirana. So you're saying now that's not accurate?
U lutem.
Please, from Croatia, I went to Albania, and that was on the 10th of April, 8th or 10th of April. That's true. And I looked for my family in Tirana, in Kukës, ending with in Sahan, in Krumer, where the worst happened to me.
I will ask you more questions after we take our break this morning.
Witness will give you a half-hour break at this time. Remember not to speak with anyone outside of the courtroom about your testimony in the courtroom. If anyone tries to talk to you, you let us know. You may go with the court usher at this time.
Ju faleminderit.
Thank you.
We're adjourned until 11:30.
All rise. All rise.
Be seated. Madam Usher, please bring the witness in. For the record, before we begin, the MFI 01592, the objection is sustained concerning authenticity. There's not enough information about the source of the document nor its timing. All right, witness, we will continue now with the questions from Mr. Misitich.
Thank you, Mr. President. Hello again, witness. Let me pick up where I left off before the break. So you returned, or you went to Albania in April of 1999, and you were detained by Sabit Getzi, correct?
Po.
Correct.
Now, you said that in your statement in 2011 that during your detention you mentioned Hashim Thaçi to Sabit Getzi. That's what you told the investigators in 2011, correct?
Po.
Yes.
Interviewed by the SPO, and this is 083218 TRET Part 1 at page 32, lines 9 to 23. You stated to the SPO that you did not know whether Mr. Thaçi had the authority to release you, correct?
Po.
Correct.
That you only mentioned Mr. Thaçi's name as you thought it might help, as his family knew your family and was living close to you. Is that correct?
Po.
Correct.
And in your statement from May of 2011, you said that when you mentioned Mr. Thaçi to Mr. Getzi, he allegedly told you that Mr. Thaçi was aware of your arrest. Correct?
Ka thonë, e din zoti.
This is what he said. He is aware of that. Mr. Thaçi is aware of that. And all the general staff of the KLA are aware of the fact that you are here.
Yes. He did not mention how Mr. Thaçi knew, correct?
Jo.
No, he did not mention that. He didn't give a lot of information. He just guided the people there for the beating.
He didn't give you any evidence that Mr. Thaçi actually knew about your detention, correct?
Ja, ja, hij nog volle maar.
No, he didn't say anything else.
Do you recall that prior to your statement to ULEX on the 9th of June 2010, you had given 4 previous statements about the circumstances of your detention? And let me just read it out for the benefit of the parties. You gave a statement to the UNMIK police on the 8th of February 2001. That's SITF 000-16576 to 000-16576 RED. Do you recall that you gave a statement to UNMIK police on the 8th of February 2001?
If you have that written down, of course, I have given a statement to UNMIK.
And we also have a memo authored by an investigator concerning an interview he had with you on the 6th of October 2009, and that's SITF 003733933 to 003733933 RED2. Do you recall an interview you gave to investigators of ULEX on the 6th of October 2009?
I've given many interviews, but if you tell me what interviews they are, I can tell you on whether I've given those interviews.
Then we have on the same day you giving a ULEX statement on the 6th of October 2009, and then we have a record of a witness hearing where you gave evidence on the 24th of February 2010. And my question is, am I correct that in none of those 4 prior statements did you mention that Sabit Getsi had mentioned or had said that Hashim Thaçi was aware of your arrest?
Kto janë 25 vite.
25 years have gone by since then. From all that happened to me, plus 25 years from the time of the event, it is possible for me to forget things. However, what I know for a fact is that I have always said the truth.
I want to establish, though, that do you accept that the first time that your memory was refreshed on this point was on the 5th statement you gave on what happened to you, which was in June of 2010?
If that is written down, it should have been like that.
Let me turn to a different issue, witness, and this concerns something you told the SPO last week when you met with the prosecutor and clarified certain portions of your evidence. So I would like to read you one paragraph. It's a long paragraph, so I'll speak slowly, but this is what is recorded as what you told the prosecutor last week. And I'm going to ask you to confirm that this is what you told the prosecutor last week. So this is at paragraph 39 of Preparation Note 2, which is page 122480. And we can put that on the screen, actually, Mr. Court Officer. I'll get you the citation, which is 122473 to 122483. At page 122480. it says W04735, which is you, explained he had contacts with Abidin Reja before he was killed. Reja asked W04735 to hand over his weapon to him. It started when Haki, W04735's brother, was badly injured on the 6th of August, 1998. While bringing Haki to the hospital, Haki and W04735 were stopped by the Serbian police, who pointed rifles at them, shouting terrorists at them. W04735 was beaten by the Serbian police, but nonetheless, Haki was sent to the hospital and got surgery. After 6 weeks, W04735 was able to take his brother home. There, a nurse, Liri Loshi, had reported to radio station Albania that Haki Imeri had been wounded by the Serbian forces. W04735 was mad at the nurse, and he could not understand why he would report that, because it could get his brother killed. The nurse reported to the KLA HQ that he had been threatened by W04735. In the evening, KLA soldiers went to W04735's house, and Abidin Reja asked W04735 and his father to go to the KLA HQ. At the HQ, Abidin arrived and asked if W04735 had threatened the nurse. W04735 said he had not. Abidin also told W04735 that if any of the 7 Getzi brothers went to his family's house and, quote, "if I ever see you meeting with them, I'll fire a rocket on your house," close quote. He asked W04735 to hand over his Kalashnikov. W04735 refused, so Abidin threatened him with his revolver. Abidin then gave him a military task to go to the 7 brothers and tell them he will kill them all. W04735 agreed, and on the following day, he visited the 7 brothers, told them to be careful, and passed on the message from Abidin and Fladi from Gilan that they will kill them. Abidin died shortly after that. No one threatened W04735 between the death of Abidin Reja and his departure to Croatia. Sabit Getzi never blamed W04735 for the death of Abidin. W04735 and Abidin never had any issues. Now, witness, is that what you told the prosecution last week?
Yes, I told the prosecution office last week that nobody has ever accused me. And what I've told the prosecution is as well that this is a quarrel between brothers. And that has no value whatsoever, because I have never had any conflicts or any issues with Abidin Reja. However, they asked for all the LDK people to hand over their weapons, but that does not necessarily mean that we had to hand over the weapons. This is absurd, and this is something that has never been mentioned to me. That is what happened, and that's the truth.
I guess if you could just focus on my question. What I read out, does that accurately record what you told the prosecution last week?
Po në rregull është ajo që
That's okay. So what you read is okay. This is what I've told the prosecution office. I stand by that. However, I have not told the prosecution office that somebody has accused me of Abedin. So this is not true because we are cousins and it may be possible as well to have some quarrel or issues within the same family, but the reality is that we never had a big issue between us. You can ask everyone and everyone will tell you the same thing.
Regia, as you mentioned, was your cousin, and Abedin Regia was also the brother-in-law of Sabit Getzi. Is that correct?
po,
That's correct. Yes.
Would you dispute if I told you that Abedin Regia was killed on or about the 8th of October, 1998?
si?
Can you please repeat that again?
Any reason to dispute if I told you that
Po,
Abedin
çashtu
Regia,
është ajo, ndryshe s'u më kon.
That's what it is, yes.
so 8th of October, 1998?
Në sqarim të shkurt,
Let me make a clarification. Today, you say that he was killed, whereas this is an issue that has been resolved by the ULEX forensic expert.
Killed. You said in the statement I read back to you, and I quote, Abedin died shortly after that.
Objection, mischaracterization.
I'm about to ask him,
Overruled. Go ahead.
how did Abedin Regia die then?
mjekësia ligjore u
The forensic experts of ULEX have established that he had a heart attack. He died of God.
So he dies shortly after this incident that you describe in paragraph 39, correct?
ai ka vdek aty ku ka vdek.
He died not because of being killed by someone, but he died of the heart attack. And that is something that has been established by ULEX forensic experts. I haven't been there myself, though.
So just to take this step by step, as you discuss in this paragraph, your brother had been injured, and on the 6th of August, he had been injured on the 6th of August, and you took him Mitrovica for treatment at the hospital.
Po,
Yes,
Mitrovica at the time was Serb-controlled territory, correct?
sigurisht.
correct.
Now, when you were detained by Sabit Getzi asked you questions about how it was that you were able to cross into Serbian territory to get treatment for your brother in Mitrovica, correct?
Po, shef, Stabiti
Sabit could say whatever he wanted because he was the boss of beating. The first word that Sabit would say to me was that I was a supporter of the LDK, of President Rugova. He cursed on me, he would say anything possible to me. That's not a question of what he said, but I believe that the question that should arise is, what is the reason that he stopped me and detained me in Krum, in Kukas?
I'd like to establish the facts of what you saw, what you heard, and in particular what you heard Sabit Getzi say to you. So my first question is, do you agree that when he detained you, Sabit Getzi started asking you questions about how it was that you were able to cross into Serbian territory to get treatment for your brother?
më shtit me qesh pak, po e mirë edhe kjo.
You made me laugh, but I believe that laughing is good for your health. Now, About the Serbs, he was a Serb collaborator himself. Sabit Gecik was a Serb collaborator, so it was the Serbs that released him from the prison of Prizren. In this case in question, Sabit detained me because of being a supporter of President Rugova. When I was sent before the trial panel in Kukës in March, the charges against me were that I was a supporter of President Rugova, a friend of the Minister of Defense that was killed in Tirana, and I was the brother of Hakim Meir that was killed on the 2nd of November of 1999. So these were the accusations of the charges that were raised by Sabit Gecik. Kukës is there, the court is still there, you can check for yourself.
Could we please have on the screen SITF 000-13352 to 000-13368, red 3, and the same in the Albanian. Witness, this is the statement you gave to ULEX police on the 6th of October 2009. And if we could please go to page 3 in the English and page 4 at the bottom in the Albanian. Can we scroll to the bottom in the English, please? Witness, if we scroll to the bottom in the Albanian as well. Excuse me. It says, in the English at least, I was asked by Sabit Gecik how I managed to bring my brother after his accident to the hospital in Mitrovica. I told him that I was afraid he would die because of his severe loss of blood. Therefore, I decided to drive directly into a Serbian checkpoint. I told Sabit Gecik the further process. Initially, we were maltreated by the Serbs until a commander interfered and took our part. Serbian police brought us then to the police station of Mitrovica. First, the Serbian police officers wanted to shoot us dead. The commander, named Gile, however, offered to bring my brother to the hospital. I was held back at the police station. Witness, does that refresh your recollection that Sabit Gecik asked you, and that you told UNMIK police that Sabit Gecik asked you how it was that you were able to bring your brother to a hospital in Mitrovica?
Can I speak? When my brother was wounded, I sent him to the nurse in his beats. He cured his leg, and he also gave him a pill against the pain. And he told me, Ömer, there are two possibilities. First, you have to send him to the hospital, or second, leave him die. So if you send him to the hospital, both of you will be killed, but it might as well be possible for you to be saved. So there were two choices out there for myself. I either had to send him to the hospital or let him die. I couldn't let my brother die, and that is the reason why I took him with me, and I decided to go towards the checkpoint. Fortunately, I know Croatian well, the language. I know it well because I have lived in Croatia. And I spoke to the people that were in the checkpoint. There was this Roma there. There was a Roma police officer, and he could see that I was in a dire situation. So I had covered my brother in the shirt that I was wearing myself. The Roma officer said,
There is no dispute that what you did to save your brother was reasonable and the right thing to do. So I want to be clear on that point. My interest is in what Sabit Getzi was interested in knowing from you and the questions that Sabit Getzi asked you when he detained you. That's the issue that we want to focus on. And I've showed you now on the screen what you told UNMIK police in 2009. Do you recall telling UNMIK police that he was asking you questions about how it was that you were able to get treatment for your brother?
Me kjer kom shku.
I went by car.
Ma kanë marrë kerrin edhe
They took my car and they sent me there by a police car. Probably Sabit just wanted to know on whether any of his people were there.
Yes or no question. So it's yes or no. Did Sabit Getzi ask you questions about how you were able to bring your brother to Mitrovica? Yes or no?
in the room.
Your Honor, I decided to put my life in danger and send my brother there. That's the reason why I went. And God helped us, and here I am today.
Witness,
Your Honor,
they're asking you a very straightforward question that has a yes or no answer. Listen to the question again. We don't need other information at this time. If something else is needed, the prosecution will have an opportunity to redirect you. Now listen to the question one more time and then answer it, yes or no.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I just want to check that this document is not being broadcasted.
No, Your Honor, it wasn't broadcasted.
Thank you. Witness, did Sabit Getzi ask you questions about how it was that you were able to bring your brother for treatment in Mitrovica? Yes or no?
Nuk e di jam ka pyet.
I don't know whether he asked me, but I know for a fact that the Serbian police sent us to the hospital by a police car.
Statement that you made in 2009 to ULEX police, you don't recall telling ULEX police that Sabit Getzi asked you questions about how you were able to bring your brother to Mitrovica?
Që është e shkruar aty që kanë
If that is written there, if ULEX police has written that down, that is something that I've said, and everything that I've said is true. However, I don't trust what Sabit Getzi has written down because he is the greatest spy ever, the traitor, the biggest traitor ever in the Balkans. That's the person with those qualities.
It is asking you very straightforward questions. You have to listen to the question.
I apologize.
Thank you. So you accept, I take from your answer that you accept that if it's written down, then this is something you said. It's also true that he also accused you of being involved in the murder of his brother-in-law, Abedin Reja. I'm not saying it's true. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying that that's what he accused you of while you were in detention.
Kur.
Never. Never has he ever done that.
Witness, would it surprise you to learn that some of the people that you were detained with have testified that they heard Sabit Getsi asking you questions about your alleged involvement in the death of Abedin Reja? And again, I want to be sure that you understand I'm not actually accusing you or saying that it was true. I'm just saying that Sabit Getsi was making those accusations.
Betoham zat.
I swear to God that he didn't.
And if we could go into private session, please.
Into private session, please.
Your Honor, we're in public session. Thank you.
Thank you. Go
Thank
ahead.
you. Witness, we've established that you did not attend the funeral of Abedin Reja Sandokan, and shortly after his death, you went to Croatia, correct?
I don't know the date when he passed away, but I went there around the 12th of December.
And you say that the reason you went to Croatia was for economic reasons?
Yes.
To do with people starting to make accusations concerning your alleged connection to the death of Abedin Reja?
This did not happen, nor did I hear it from anyone. I'm hearing this from the first time from you. I never heard this there. And I'm sorry that you're inciting, encouraging a quarrel that does not exist. Have you ever been to Kosovo, please?
Quarrel here. I'm just trying to establish what Sabit Getsi was asking you questions about, and that's it. So I thank you very much for answering my questions. I appreciate it. Okay.
Never.
President, that concludes my cross-examination.
No, thank you.
We have no questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Jonas, we have some questions, perhaps about 15, 20 minutes only. Thank you.
Go right ahead.
Mr. Witness, good morning.
Good morning.
And I represent Mr. Jakub Krasniqi. Sir, I have very few questions for you this afternoon. Starting, of course, with just to get it clear from you that you've never met Mr. Krasniqi, have you? During the war, specifically.
Correct. Never.
And in fact, as late as October 2009, when you were being interviewed by ULEX, you still had never met him. Is that correct, sir?
I have never met with Jakub Krasniqi.
Yeah, I just want to address one particular issue with you, in fact, and it relates to your evidence that supporters of Rugova were targeted for killings. Now, am I correct, sir, that you have publicly accused Mr. Krasniqi of killing Zevat Isufi because he was perceived to be a Rugova supporter? That's correct, isn't it?
Correct.
Can I please request that DJK 00984 be put on the screen, please? As well as the English translation. So if you look at the screen, I'm just going to read the paragraph which quotes you. And you state there, Jakub Krasniqi went at Zevat Isufi in Vidishik at his office and asked him, "What is this photograph of Rugova?" He told him, "It is the photograph of the president. Either you remove it or I pull out the gun and kill you. You will have consequences." And 3 days later, Zevat Isufi was killed. This is what you stated on public TV in Kosovo, isn't it, sir?
Unë jam kryetari shoqat.
I am the head of the association calling for justice. People reported to me things. There were many killings committed in this regard. That is very true. And the chairman for human rights in Mitrovica, Halid Bayrami, established that he was killed by Albanians. But his friends, Jevat's friends, stated exactly as I have stated here, that Mr. Jakub Krasniqi went to him and said, "Remove this photograph or I will kill you." To which he replied, "No, I will not remove it." And then the killing occurred 2 days later. This is very true.
So in fact, you know, don't you, that in 2013, Mr. Isufi was awarded the Order of Hero of Kosovo by the President of Kosovo. You're surely aware of that, aren't you?
Po shef, ata kanë marrë.
Look, many people were awarded the hero title. Ilir Konushevsky was one of them. But look at the data. How was he killed? Please, many things were done. I have notes and I have submitted them to the court when I gave my statement. Out of 100, probably 60 killed, many others maltreated, imprisoned. One of them, I was one of them, my brother was one of the killed, and so on.
And so if I could just kindly and very respectfully request that you just say yes or no to my answers, to my questions, and if I need any explanation, I will then ask you for that, please. So you're aware, aren't you, that Mr. Yusufi was in fact killed during an ambush on the 3rd of January 1999. And during the same incident, Zime Halimi, known as Commander Bessie, was also wounded. You are aware of that, aren't you, sir? Just as the rest of Kosovo is.
Vetëm po edhe ju nuk më.
I can't clarify anything by answering by yes or no. I know that when they wanted to kill one person, they would kill 2 or 3 if they happened to be there. They would kill everyone.
And sir, when you made this allegation publicly on Kosovo TV, do you recall that Mr. Yusufi's son called into the program and he called you, and I'm quoting him, he said you were a liar? That happened, didn't it?
Po.
Yes.
Could I please
Yes, it did happen.
video?
Edhe më fal.
Sorry, but very briefly. He called in and said he's defaming, but later on he admitted that somebody called him on the phone and that he was forced to say the things he said in my regard.
That the video be played, DJK00988. And we've provided also a transcript in English and also in Albanian for convenience.
How long of you're going to play the entire video?
It's a very short clip, Your Honor. It's about 2 minutes.
All right.
Фалендеве комунци, ям писачу суфе, дьоли вотет, коройца конгрес. Шецай.
I told you that a person called him on the phone and incited him, pushed him to come out against me. But later on, he apologized to me. I don't know what is his first name. I've seen him before, slandering about such topics. He's a slanderer. Due to his age, I can't say much, but he's a liar. Everything what he speaks out, TV host or malcondurer. Just a moment, just a moment. His own son said it. He referred to his own son. Just a moment, Gus. The son of the person he mentioned, whom he claimed killed Jakub Krasniqi. Please, this is serious, please. Since he mentioned his son's name, he's here, he can speak. Thaçi Sufi. Regarding Mary, no one from our family knows him, and he has not taken any statement from us as a family. We have no complaint, neither against the comrades, nor in the war, nor in any step that happened during the war. My father was an activist since the 1980s, from as far back as I can remember, as much as I managed to know from his friends and the rest. Whatever happened in the war, my father was not there by chance. He was involved very early on, and now a slanderer, a liar, like Mr. Emery, comes into the studio and slanders as if Jakub Krasniqi killed my father, which is a blatant lie. I would ask you as a studio and the people there not to allow such debates in studios and to not incite hatred between families, between martyrs. The only ones left unstained are the martyrs. There is no one from the war who has not been tarnished by those who do not love freedom, by those who are afraid of freedom. They have even started targeting the martyrs, and this is too much. His approach is unscrupulous. No one asked him to do such a thing. I would ask that he never mentions Thaçi Sufi's name with his mouth again.
Thank you. Mr. Witness, you recall this whole incident, don't you, sir? Just yes or no, please.
Yes, I recall it. They called him on the phone and forced him to say the words he said. Give me the opportunity to tell you about all those who were killed and what happened. I promised God that I would testify until my death. I do not know how I'm alive to this day. God brought me here in front of justice. These are political things. They changed his employment position on 2 occasions to shut his mouth. They gave him employments and anything else to have them keep their mouths shut.
Request that DJK 00988, the video and the corresponding transcript be admitted into evidence, please.
Objection?
No, Your Honor.
DJK 00984 to 988, did you say?
Thank you.
Both English and Albanian.
If I may. So DJK 00988, the corresponding transcripts both in English and Albanian will be assigned exhibit number 400079, and it's currently classified as public. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Witness, do you have a handgun, sir, which was given to you by ULEX investigators?
First of all, this was given to me by ONMIC, and then ULEX, and then by our government. Yes, I do have it.
So it's your testimony that ULEX investigators had given you a handgun. That's your evidence, sir.
Yes.
Gun with you?
I have 3 weapons. 5.
From ULEX. How many did ULEX give you?
They gave me a handgun. ONMIC gave it to me, as a matter of fact, since the time when my brother was killed.
Or after your interviews?
This was given to me in 2000, when my brother was killed. And they knew my background, how I had been imprisoned, and as a witness, I was always protected by ONMIC, ULEX, and I believe today by the special court, because you know that in Kosovo, over 30 witnesses were killed. These 30 witnesses did not testify against Serbia.
Your Honor, I'm told the transcription has stopped. And so, if I'm correct, you told the SPO that the international investigators who gave you these handguns, one of them is called Josef, correct?
Wolfgang Orden.
And Wolfgang Orden, 2 ONMIC police officers, very good men who helped us a lot.
And a receipt for that handgun, sir.
Certainly, I have a permit with a photograph, my photograph on it.
And do you know whether or not these investigators were actually permitted to hand out guns to witnesses?
This was immediately after the war, ONMIC in 2000. This was 24 years ago.
To the fact,
Things were different at the time.
Your Honor, it was towards credibility of the witness, but now
nothing to do with credibility.
in our submission it does, Your Honor, and we'll address you in our submissions.
Right now, it has nothing to do with it. So just move on.
That was my last question. Thank you, witness.
Redirect.
Your Honor, just one brief question.
Can you hear now?
Yes.
Just one brief question. In relation to what you just said about witnesses being killed, what is the general perception the journalists and the media have in Kosovo about those who want to testify, those who are witnesses?
Objection about foundation. General perception of journalists.
I can rephrase, Your
Overruled. You
Honor.
may go ahead. You may have to repeat the question.
Mr. Imeri, you have talked about witnesses who are being killed. What is the general perception that media and journalists convey about witnesses who are willing to testify here? How are they treated?
Doamna procuroră,
Madam Prosecutor, I have said that before you in the witness, as a witness before you. I have told you that we are referred to as being traitors, but we are not traitors. I'm not a traitor because I'm here to tell you about my brother, about myself, but also the other witnesses that come here and that testify to what has happened to them. They are not traitors either. However, the general perception is that we are being consulted with the Serbian BIA. Your Honors, we are aware of the situation. We come from good families, from patriotic families, so we are aware of the fact that Serbia has killed 12,000, 13,000 people. We know that 50,000 houses have been burned down. We know that 20,000 women have been raped by Serbia. But nonetheless, there were people that were killed, like Ahmed Krasniqi during the war and Vermalovo during the war. My brother, Hakim Merik, was killed after the war. And there were about 500 or 600 murders. I have at least 100 people that are listed in my list as the head of the association calling for justice. And all the witnesses that have come before you, they have told the truth. They have told you that these people have been killed. These people have never received any condolences. So they were only told, just you have to keep silent and have your mouth shut. For instance, Sulhoja, who is a prosecutor in Kosovo, he used to be the head prosecutor in Kosovo. I've heard this person in the TV saying that people that are killed by the state are not discovered, because if the Kosovo police wanted them to be discovered, they could be discovered and made public in a week. I sent a letter to Sulhoja. I sent that to the head of the court, to the American embassy. I've sent it to several places, and I was called in a meeting at the embassy. I was told that the first person that would be called to give his testimony from the time that the Special Prosecution Office starts its work will be yourself, and they kept their word.
Panel.
Yes.
Judge Barton.
Thank you, Judge Smith, and good afternoon, witness. Can you hear me well?
Oh. Yes.
A few questions for you, and would like to move into private session for that, please.
Into private session, please.
Your Honor, we're in public session. Thank you.
As I said, your testimony is now complete. You'll be allowed to leave the court now. We thank you for being with us and sharing your information with us. You may go with the court attendant to leave the courtroom, and we wish you well.
Are we done?
Is the other witness ready to come in a reasonable period of time? And we can wait till after the lunch break if that's the case.
No, Your Honor, the next witness will be available tomorrow morning.
Thank you, I understand. I just want to say to the defense, we had 7.5 hours scheduled, you used 1 hour. That's a little outrageous. I think you can do a better job of giving us some notice and the prosecution some notice so that we can be prepared. We could have probably got 3 witnesses in this week instead of just 2. So please do a better job. We expect it to be better. We're adjourned until 9 a.m. tomorrow.
All rise.